Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Johnson, and welcome to our live. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube, and we are live on my Facebook business page as well. And tonight we are all about ARs and how to upgrade them. Kind of cool and kind of neat. Hope you're doing well this evening. If you know the drill, if you're on here for the very first time, you may not know that drill, but someone who's been on before, please let us know in regards to where you're from and what you have, where you're watching the class at, as far as what city and state you're from. And if you are new and you're watching it through Facebook, if you'll put FB and let us know you're from Facebook. And if you are from YouTube, you can put YT. And if you're watching it after the fact, you can put replay. That'll help us understand whereabouts you saw this at and add the YT or the FB. That'd be awesome as well. So, how was your week? Hope it's doing well. I came off last week. I was not feeling well. Tuesday, Wednesday, I had a little bit of a fever and I was not feeling good. And I ended up getting better. And then all of a sudden, now Mama Johnson's at home and she's not feeling well. So, I'm sorry, baby, if I gave you it. I'm not a good sick person, anyways. But Baby Johnson is, she's a hard worker and she's not feeling well tonight. And this goes to you, honey. I love you very much and I hope you feel better. So, this evening, we are going to be covering a lot of different stuff. Kind of cool this time because I got a sponsor to send me some stuff. They sent me a couple of products for our AR-15 and they asked me would I do a review of their product. I thought, wow, you know what? Maybe what I can do is this live and talk about what we can and can't do with taking a plain Jane AR and changing it into a pretty hot little thing that you would be proud of. And it's pretty neat. So you saw the things we're gonna the top accessories you need to add to your AR-15 that it's a must have. And I think we're going to cover each one of these. And I think it's going to do. Our sponsor for this is called Wing Tactical. And we're going to talk to you here in a few seconds. But they gave me a discount code, which I am going to pass on to you guys. So anytime that you want thinking about adding any of these products, you can actually go to Wing Tactical and they've given me a discount code that I can send on to you guys and give you that information. In the comments, we've already laid out that discount code for you already. But I'm going to go ahead and post it here real quick. If you want to take a screenshot, there is the Wing Tactical discount code, which is John JOHN 468. And if you put that in the checkout discount area there, it's going to give you 10% off your order. Now, you can only use this once per customer, but it's good all the way till September the 30th, 2024. So get together a list, products you want, visit their website. They have a ton of stuff. Cool thing about this company, they're out of California. I'm not sure if that's cool, but there are a lot of great California people out there. We have a full group of people that follow us from California, and there are shooters out there. But this is veteran-owned business, which I think is pretty cool. And they specialize in adding products to their portfolio that they would use on their own rifles, which I thought was pretty cool. And I wanted you guys to know who they are, and I hope you're able to use their coupons to save you some money, which is all this is all about. And they gave us a bunch of stuff to put on an AR to show you guys how cool and neat, how easy. I joke and kid about easy because it took Jacob and I a little bit longer than I thought it would. I thought I knew what I was doing. I do, but if you have the right tools, which they carry a full line of AR tools that you can get those changed out pretty quick and pretty easy. It took Jake and I a little bit longer because I hadn't done one of those pieces. But when you get done seeing this thing, it's pretty awesome. So um, let's go to the comments real quick. Let's see what we have as far as comments go. and see who's on there that we maybe have to say hello to right away. New Jersey. All right. White in YouTube. Natasha, as always, sweetheart. Thank you very much. We're glad you're here. Yeah, good. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Natasha. And our friends from New Jersey there. Appreciate that very much being on there. All right. Let's go back and leave that. I'll hide that comment there and I'll bring that back up a couple more times today. That way we don't have to see it all the time. All right. Enter the stage. Boom. There we go. And then I am going to just put myself on a wide screen. There we go. And go full screen. All right, guys, here we go. Top essential AR accessories must-haves for every owner. My name is John Johnson. I'm the owner and operator of a firearm training facility, and we teach people how to shoot ARs and rifles and pistols and everything else like that. And Wing Tactical is has been so gracious to send us some product to show you this evening. And as they showed us that product, I kind of negotiated a deal with you guys to get you a discount on anything that you want to look at their website from. You go to wingtactical.com and at checkout you can enter John 468 at checkout and receive 10% off. And that's pretty awesome to be able to do that. All right, so the very first picture I want to show you is the AR-15 that we jazzed up. This AR-15 that we jazzed up is a Delton Sport. It has a front A2 front post. It has a backup backside. It has mil spec stock, mil spec handguard, and mil spec handle. Pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty economical rifle. Shoots 223, 5.56. Nothing wrong with it. Perfect, wonderful. But you at the end, you'll see how we jazzed it up. Gave you a lot of different stuff. Now I'm gonna pick a couple different items I think you need to add to your AR that will help you become better shooter or a better quality person. Yeah, and we're gonna do that as well. All right. So number one thing, top essential AR-15 accessory, and I put these in kind of a what I think priority number one would be. And if you looked at that AR that we had before, it already had a sighting system on it. That A2 front post you see there has a sight in it, and that back sight is an orifice or a hole that you look through. Now you can adjust those right and left, and you can adjust that front post high and low, and that works perfectly for you. It's been working throughout the United States forever and ever and ever. They didn't put red dots on a lot of different stuff ever until the very end when they were starting using more rifles for stuff. But I can tell you that in low light conditions, there's two orifices for that thing. There's a very tiny orifice and a bigger orifice on that back sight post, and it's not the easiest thing to see, especially with old eyes. I'm not calling myself old. I'm not calling you old. But if you have to shut one eye to look through it, you're killing your field of view. Great thing about a red dot is you can shoot it with both eyes open. Now they make red dots as expensive as the rifle that you just bought, to be honest with you. Some of those EOTechs and things like that can be four, five, $600. Don't know if you need that kind of rifle, that kind of sight on a red dot. You just need a dot that's going to stay accurate, going to stay sighted, and you shouldn't have any problems at all with them. And I tell you what, be honest with you, I don't spend a ton of money on red dots. We keep a line of red dots here at our store that I actually have in my Amazon store as well. And I can tell you that I've never had a problem with any of those failing or breaking or anything else like that. And the cool thing is, if you ever do, as cheap as they are, it doesn't hurt your feelings to replace them. I can tell you that some of the stuff nowadays, they have red, they have green, they have blue for snow. We're not gonna worry about snow. And this one here is high rised. This is right off of Wing Tactical's website. I believe this thing was in the $140 range. Is perfect. You don't need to get that high. You don't need to get that low. You just need a dot that's going to cover, and they're very adjustable. Discover the best option for you. That's all about what you want to do and what you plan to do with a weapon. A red dot is designed for quick acquisition, man silhouette, 8-inch paper plate out at any distance. And you can sight these in and be very, very accurate with it, very quick. That's the concept of it. And the beauty of it compared to a scope where you close one eye and you have crosshairs, the red dot is designed for one third of the optic, one third of the scope itself, and it gives you the ability to co-witness with your front and back post. So if you look at the AR in the very beginning, that had a back sight that's called a backup, and that backup itself lays down, and you use the red dot itself to sight the gun in. But if you forgot to turn the battery off, which is one of the real challenges of red dots, is they are battery driven, and sometimes if you leave those on for an awful long time, they can go dead on you, and then trying to get one when you need one, especially in the woods, it becomes a little more challenging for you. Now they do make stuff like you spend more money on a red dot. Some become more solar availability. Some have better batteries in them. They give you 20,000 hours of battery and stuff, but you all spend tons of money on them. This one here, I believe, takes a 2032 battery and it's economical. This was directly from their website, wingtactical.com. Make sure you enter that discount code if you get an opportunity to find something on their website. They have a ton of stuff on there. I just pulled a few of these that I thought was going to maybe add to your viewing pleasure here. So the red dot would be the very first thing I would spend my money on before I worried about any kind of beauty or anything else like that. Because a red dot will allow us to keep both eyes open. It'll give a better field of view. You're going to be able to see multiple around you, and you'll be able to work the product pretty easy. They're pretty easy to sight in, no issues, no in. You know, the concept with a red dot, what I normally do when I sight one of these in, I put it directly on top, attach it to Picatinny rail, and make sure that dot is into center of the front post. And then from there, I should be right and left should be pretty good for me. I only have to worry about up and down at that point in time. And I will take 2 shots, see where it impacts. If it impacts low, then I'm gonna at a short distance, I may move 8 to 10 clicks and see what kind of adjustment I have at that point in time. We did a whole video on how to sight in a red dot. If you need me to, you can visit our our YouTube channel, and watch the video. That's pretty simple and easy there. So number one would be optics, 100%. Now, are you gonna shoot 200 yards with a red dot? You probably could, but if you're gonna shoot that kind of distance, you wanna put a scope on a red dot, scope on an AR. But if you're gonna shoot 100 yards in, red dot will do everything you need to do. I've hunted with red dots. I've sat in tree stands with red dots. I've gone to the range with red dots. They all will work. You don't need magnification with a red dot, especially at short distances. But they do make magnifiers that you can put on these units as well, which is kind of a cool little deal. You could pop a magnifier behind this thing, and now you've got a short distance weapon that could be used long distance with when you plus in the magnifier. So that's a kind of a cool thing. But then again, you're adding more and more money to it. Is it necessity? No. Yeah. Can you do it? Yes. All right. So there's number one is optics. All right. Number 2 is furniture. Now, we put in they gave us a Magpul stock and a Magpul just like this one you see here, foreguard, and they gave us a hand grip as well. We put all 3 of those. I'm not crazy about the hand grip, the little piece down below there, up top corner. That's a handle that you hold on to that you don't have to hold the grip itself. You push pit people tendency to push on that, which causes the rifle to go up. But the cool thing about the foregrip and the handguard and the stocks, These are furniture just like anything else. They come in a lot of different colors and a lot of different styles, and you can change your color like you change your shoes, man, if you want to. Uh, they come in pink, blue, green. Now, Magpul, normally what we got on ours, we did flat dark earth against black. It looks really cool, really neat. But I've seen pink, I've seen blue, I've seen green, I've seen all kinds of different colors. The muddy girl patterns. I've seen a bunch of stuff. Not that hard to take off, not that hard to put back on, and it gives you a different view and a more expensive look on an economical rifle, but they're ergonomically, they feel really great in your hands, and it feels very comfortable to personalize your rifle for maximum comfort and stability. That's the beauty of all this stuff. It's so simple. And because you see all the slits on the top of that, the handguard, a piece of rail could be added, which we did. We added a piece of rail to ours to add a flashlight to it, which is a small piece of rail, because those little pieces lock into the back side of it, and allow you to hold on to those pieces of rail and give you the ability to attach pieces. So the Picatinny rail system or a ran handguard, a metal handguard, feels good until you start shooting it, and all those teeth and marks, they start cutting in your hand a little bit. Where these pieces of plastic are very soft in the hands, and they don't hurt your hands as much. Um, we call those cheese graters when you start shooting an awful lot, the metal ones, where the hand guards like these are going to be very soft in your hands. So foregrip and hand guards, these are furniture pieces. These can be looked at any website. But Wing Tactical had a bunch of them on there. I just pulled a couple of their pictures for you guys from their website. All right, magazine and magazine accessories. There's a lot of different stuff you can get for your magazines. Now, this little piece you see underneath where it says top essential accessories, this is allowing you to attach two magazines together. Why would you do that? Well, that gives you the ability to have two magazines attached together. I've seen it almost with three. So what you do is you put these two magazines together, and it gives a separation between the two. So you shoot the first magazine, let's say you have 30 rounds in it, and then when you get to the point where you're empty, you can move to the next magazine, and it just moves over and allows you to shoot the next 30, which is kind of a cool thing. They've done this before with tape and stuff like that, where they tape two magazines, one one up high, one at low, and they flip it when they wanna load them as well. But there are a lot of different Magpul makes so many different magazines. They have a magazine with a window in it that allows you to, but you can get 5 rounders for hunting, you can get 10 rounders, you can get 20 rounders. They make a 100 round magazine. I don't know how you're gonna carry the thing, but they make all kinds of stuff as well as drums. They make a ton of different stuff you can get. How many magazines should you have? I can tell you this, I probably got 20 magazines at home. And what I used to do when I worked at the gun store down the street before I owned my own, every Friday I'd buy a magazine and and 20 rounds of 223 or 5.56, whatever we had at the time. And I think that was 1794 or something like that, and I'd buy one of those every Friday before I went home. I'd load it up, throw it in the car. I'd load it up, throw it in the car. Once I got the 10 magazines in my car, I'd take those into the house. Now, did I put 30 rounds in each magazine? No, I didn't. I normally don't do that. I don't normally put 30 rounds into a 30 round magazine. Number one, why? Is because it's very hard to put 30 rounds in a 30 round magazine. You need to really work to the point of opening them. Now, I always use Magpul because Magpul is a plastic product. It holds up really well. If you were to drop a metal magazine in the dirt, in the sand, anything else like that, you can bend or ding a magazine. I've seen it happen, and it won't feed into your gun properly. where the plastic or the magpul finishers of the polymer mags like these, they're very durable, they're very hard, and they work very well. That other little piece here is a magazine ammo catch that goes inside of your weapon, and as you're at the range, it's going to catch all your brass before it hits the ground. That's for people who reload. Technically, um, I don't know if you need to do that, but there were tons of stuff you can do when it comes to that stuff. How many magazines should you have? As many as you need. That's what I'll tell you. I can tell you I do a lot of class work with ARs, and I do a lot of stuff with 5 rounders. It's hard to find a 5-round mag anymore, but they do make 10 rounders and they do make uh 10 rounders obviously, but they make 5 rounders. And 5 rounders help when we're here. Someone buys an AR from us and when we want to sight it in, we go back with a 5 rounder and it probably takes us one mag to sight the rifle in pretty quick and pretty easy. It's not that hard to do, especially with a red dot once you've got the idea of the distance between the bore and the cylinder itself, it makes it pretty easy. You'll be able to sight it in. You don't need a 30 round magazine. I'm not saying there's anything against metal magazines. I would just stay away from them. We live in Florida where moisture is everywhere. It's somewhat challenging. You can get a steel mag to rust up after a while. All right. So number three would be magazine and magazine accessories. That's kind of one of those things. Oh, there's a priority there. Can't weapon with no ammo is no weapon. It's just a glorified hammer at that point in time. You know, weapon with no ammo means absolutely nothing for you. And then you want to make sure. I always think I've told you guys multiple times. Every weapon in your home should have at least 500 rounds of ammo with it. With the ARs, as fast as they shoot, you probably should be 1,000 per AR. 1,000 per AR is probably not a bad choice. All right. Slings. I'm not a crazy sling guy, but there are single point slings, double point slings, triple point swings, 2 point swings. There's a ton of different stuff, and these can be designed for how you plan to carry it. A single sling going around your neck, allow you to drop the rifle, pick the pistol up off your side pretty easy and simple. A standard sling that goes across your back goes that rifle I showed you first thing earlier here. It has a rifle sling for the front and a rifle sling for the buckstock, and that's designed for a single sling. They make actual uh, sling bolts that go in the center of the AR that allow you to take a rifle and make a 2 point sling to a 1 point sling, and the 1 point sling will slide over your neck and allow you to slide to your side, especially if you're doing a 3 gun or something like that. There are 3 point slings. If you have to climb, you can do three points of area. There are a lot of different stuff. You just got to find the one that's going to work for you. I actually pulled the Wing Tactical again. I pulled one of their products out here. This is the Magpulse product that hooks directly to, and these are actual not they are clips, but they're clips with single holes in them that don't allow it to push or pull or run or anything else like that. Discover the benefits for each style and understand how you can revolutionize your shooting experience. A lot of times, guys that are spending any time outdoors shooting and transitioning from your pistol to your rifle, it's good to have that sling that you can drop the rifle. It's going to go right to your side, and you can grab your pistol and work it as much as you can. A lot of times you're walking a long distance or anything else like that. Even carrying a light 7 pound, 8 pound rifle can get heavy after a while, and it's tendency, especially if you're in an area where there's moisture or it's a desert kind of situation where it's hot. You don't be slugging these rifles all over the place, and the more you lug a rifle, the more chance you have the chance of dropping it. Where you drop the rifle, you have to be careful of the glass of any of the optics, or even knocking the optic off to a point where it's not on zero anymore. So the the strap itself is one of those kind of essential things, especially if you're running and gunning, especially if you're in a situation where you're hunting. Obviously, when we deer hunted, we always had a sling on our rifle. Just made it easy for us to carry, especially if we had to drag a deer and a rifle at the same time. Not fun, not easy. Not fun, not easy. But slings are one of those things that are a necessary evil. I don't really like how they look on a rifle, but I love what they do for me. Right? By the way, guys, please comment below. Let me know if I missed something on any of these or some of the factors of these. Please let me know if you can give me some advice. I would truly appreciate it. Now, here's a one that I've seen these at every gun show ever, and this is just a plastic bipod thing. Now, I couldn't find this on these guys' sites, but I've found these on Amazon 150 times, and they're all over the place. This is a hand post that pops open to a bipod, and this is kind of cool, especially if you're trying to sight the rifle in. It's a lot easier to sight a rifle in on a solid surface than it is to physically try to hold the rifle and do your 3 shots and adjust. The bipod makes it so much easier. Discover the versatility and the stability of a bipod. It offers you so much. It enables you to maintain precise aiming while reducing fatigue during prolonged shooting lessons. I can tell you, we use a lot of ammo cans here to sight in a rifle. One of these little bipods like that clip on a Picatinny rail running underneath your weapon. They actually add no weight at all, very no weight at all. You could be laying in a prone position with these bipods on there and take longer shots. If you ever try to take a rifle shot and trying to keep your cool while you're breathing hard at a nice buck or something like that, that rifle heaves and hoes as you breathe. And the idea would be is the bipod is something that adds a little weight to the weapon, but in the long run, according to what you plan to do with it, it definitely would give you the ability. And this is a twofold thing. Actually seen these guys where when you push the button, those legs pop out, but on the back side of that, there's another button that has they make these flashlight style as well. So you have a flashlight, hand guard, and bipod all in one piece. So there's a lot of neat little things. Now we want to be careful how much stuff we put on these rifles. Everything we put on these rifles become heavier and heavier and heavier, which becomes a little bit more. I did many years ago. When I was working at the old range, we had an outdoor range, and I put an AR class together. And three guys showed up. They had a AR rifle. They had a scope. On top of the scope was a red dot. On the side of the scope was a red dot. I mean, a laser, and they none of that stuff was sighted in. So we had to spend all morning sighting all three of these guys' rifles in before we could get ourselves into the training class because they just assumed putting them on the weapon made them all made them all. They were all sighted in, no issue, no issue. So careful what you put on there. Remember what you're doing. Remember what the red dot and the scope and everything is supposed to be doing. Scope's more for pinpoint accuracy. Red dots for a paper plate at a certain distance. It gives you that silhouette we're looking for. Quick acquisition versus you know pinpoint accuracy is two different things. And remember, a scope is not a pinpoint accuracy if you're not if you haven't sighted it in yet. It has to be sighted in, and that takes time and knowledge and everything else like that as well. So bipods could be a great option for you. I'd highly recommend you look at a bunch of different ones and find them out. But when you add a metal bipod to any kind of AR, it becomes a little more challenging to hold it in your hands. All right, so the next one would be the top accessories is muzzle devices. Now, if you ever been to a range, you know that muzzle devices themselves does a lot of different stuff. And muzzle devices can diffuse the flash, which makes it not as bright and helps you with your night vision. It can compensate the pressure that's coming out of the weapon. It can help with recoil management. It reduces muzzle rise. It improves the overall shooting performance with the right muzzle device. Now, each one of these does something different. I just pulled this up off a website just to kind of show you there's so many different styles. But if you think about it, anytime that barrel is rising above the line of sight, it becomes our job to get it back down on the line of sight. So it becomes so much more challenging. If you had a muzzle device that allowed the diffusion of the recoil management, it would make so much more sense to put one of those on. Now, this isn't something you're just gonna be able to go and put one on. It's going to do what you need to do because it does affect your your accuracy. When you put one of these on your rifle, you've got to sight it in again with it on there. I had a guy used to come to me every hunting season and bring his big rifle for up north. And he had a 7 millimeter, and I hated shooting that rifle because it hurt like a son of a gun. And he took it over to one of my good buddies, and I told my buddy to put on a muzzle brake that would take down some of his recoil management problems that we were having. Because he goes out west shooting mule deer, and sometimes those shots can be a couple hundred, 250, according to where he's at. And at that point in time, when he got that back from the gunsmith and I took it over, and we charged $50 a sight a rifle in plus ammo. And this guy brought this rifle in. I charged him $70 because of recoil management. That thing beat the crap out of you. And I hated shooting it. But, he paid it. I took that thing out to the range and I shot it for the very first time with that new brake on there. And I was so pleased. I was shocked how much recoil management it took away from that weapon. That 7 millimeter is a big bullet. It's got a lot of thump to it, and it was just like shooting butter, man. So obviously, that weapon itself really, really made that muzzle device made a big difference on the recoil management of it, and it became something that was a very easy. The problem with recoil management with rifles is you build an internal flinch because you're expecting that pain and that recoil. And when you go to engage a trigger, you're flinching already before you even touch the trigger. You ever shot a 30-30 or a 30-06? Those things are mule kickers, man. They kick hard. And then you're trying to become more with the gun, basically, and not expect that recoil as much. And these muzzle devices can definitely help you. Now, each one of these has its own little details and how it threads on and stuff like that. But you can read into this and make sure to get the one. And kind of look at these, man. They look kind of like tactical as hell if you think about it. It's pretty cool how they and most of those dots you see there are pushing the gases. Remember, gases push the bullet, not the powder itself. The powder itself's been burned off, and when you have an AR-15, which is a gas impingement system, it takes gas to run everything. It takes gas to run the bullet out the front. It takes gas to push the buffer tube, the the bolt carrier group back into the buffer tube. The buffer tube itself is pushed forward with springs, which loads another round. It's all gas impingement at that point in time. So when you're putting these on, it is affecting the gas. You got to make sure you get the right one so it cycles properly for you. That's why most of the time people don't add a lot of this stuff to them because they don't want to put money into something they're not sure it's going to work. But if you talk to the right guys, they can help you tremendously pick the right muzzle device for you. All right, extended controls. This is kind of a cool little deal here. This is where you can keep both hands on the weapon, and this is a what's called a mag drop. This will drop your magazine from the underside of the bolt, and it makes it so much easier. There's a lot of manufacturers that make these, and you just click that bottom and your mag will drop right out. Upgrade your AR stock buttons. You can extend them a little longer. It makes it so much easier. It provides more ergonomics, rapid functionality. Uh, uh, a lot of this stuff will allow you to run that gun just a little faster, just a little easier. Probably one of the hardest things to get your head around is a magazine change with an AR and doing it properly while keeping the weapon pointed down range and not lifting that barrel, dropping that barrel. You want to almost throw that magazine out, and it's something you learn. But when you have extended controls, it makes it a lot easier for you. Like that palm slammer or anything else like that. You know that AR stays back just like a firearm. So when you shoot your last round, it stays open. You want to get that magazine out, put a new magazine in, and you push the palm slammer, and boom, it closes automatically, which is on the opposite side of the weapon. But a lot of that stuff can have extended controls. Those extended controls can be different colors as well. That's the cool thing nowadays. They make a lot of anodized aluminum in red and blue and green and purple. So you can do a lot of neat little side little things that that can add functionality, ambidextrousy. That's one thing too, being a left-handed student shooting AR. A lot of the ARs are designed for right-handed students. The shell catch on theirs, all that stuff set. You can actually adjust some of the stuff to make the gun more ambidextrous for you to help you be able to run the gun being lefty as far as the righty. And they can't do much in regards to the shell going across your face like that, but in the long run, if you've got all the extended, controls, it makes it a little bit easier for the left-handed students. Buying a left-handed AR gets expensive after a while. They're twice as expensive, and technically, United States military never lets anybody sh they don't have left-handed rifles. They all have the rifles is gonna work for everybody, and they teach the left-handed student to shoot it right-handed, especially with the ARs now because the ARs themselves with the red dot on it, shooting both eyes open anyway, so it don't matter what your dominant eyes, 'cause you shoot both eyes open when you shoot that rifle. Pretty cool, pretty neat. Extended controls, definitely something to look at. Here's another one. We talk about the charging handles. A lot of charging handles on a mil spec product are real chintzy, flimsy. They can bend, they can break. Listen, you bend one of these charging handles, you ain't running that gun. That charging handle must be level, must be a good piece. It is a cavity of a charging handle. So these 7075 T6 anodized aluminum. It's the stiffest aluminum you can get. This one here is the one they gave us. They gave us one of these to add to our rifle. And this Warhammer, this is the one that ambidextrous has locking mechanisms on both sides of the weapon. It allows you to run this. If you look at the actual backside of that, it looks like the T on the backside of that gives you big wings that allow you to wear you run this with gloves on. If you ever tried to, a lot of the locking mechanisms on these charging handles are on one side, not on both sides. And this has a both side locking mechanism. When you go to grab it, it pops it off, makes it simple and easy. So you can actually, as a lefty, be able to do it one handed, or a righty, be able to do it one handed. Pretty simple and easy. These, you could spend a lot of money on these, but basically, this one here is a pretty nice piece. It's directly on the unit, and it gives you, and we added flat dark earth. This is a black one, but the one they gave us was the flat dark earth look, so it kind of gave it another cool look to it and made it more tactical. Definitely, if you change out one thing, if you have just a little bit of money and you didn't want to do everything else, changing out that charging handle probably would not be a bad idea because it does give you better control and better grip ability. Pretty easy, pretty simple with just a simple flip up of that as well. All right, so for me, one of the most important things if I'm using this weapon for hunting or I'm using this weapon for home defense or anything else like that, I have to have some kind of flashlight on this unit. And especially with AR-15, we can put a I I kind of dig the green lights, the green lights. You don't lose your night vision as quick with green as if I were to put a 1,000 lume flashlight with a pressure switch. When you flip that on, it's going to take your night vision away just as much as it is the bad guy. So when you do green, you don't see it as much, and green doesn't frighten a lot of other stuff away, especially for hunting. If you're hunting, walking in the woods, going to a tree stand first thing in the morning, or the light itself, it makes it very easy. Now, I'd highly recommend that you get yourself a decent flashlight. I kind of like the 1,000 lume or better. I like the greens themselves. They work really well, low light conditions. There are a ton of stuff. The pressure switch itself, when you push that pressure switch, it turns on. You can actually have that stuck to the rifle, so when you grab it, your thumb can turn it on and off, which is the greatest way to have a flashlight on a rifle. You do not want to keep it on all the time. You want to pop it on, pop it off, pop it on, pop it off. It makes it simple and easy, and it makes it something that you will be able to use because you want to use your night vision as much as possible, and only use the light necessary to get you to the ability to do what you need to do. And we've used green for a long period of time because it gives us the ability to see faster and quicker. Um, but definitely 1,000 looms in someone's face, they can't see past it. So adding a flashlight's pretty simple, not very hard to do. If you have a standard AR-15 that has a rail assembly, they all just have rails on them. Take a piece of rail, put it on there, stick the flashlight in there, add the pressure switch, and then you're done. Now the unit we had that plastic handguard from Magpul. We added a piece of rail, and then added the light to it, and those were special bolts that we use to do that with. Makes it simple and easy, but adding a flashlight to an AR is definitely a necessity. I don't know if you've noticed, we're kind of building this AR as we're going, but when we get done, you'll be able to see the final pictures of it and see what we did compared to what we have. And each one of the things we're adding adds value. Adds value, makes it better shooting for you, makes it a better gun to have around you when you need it. Whether you're using for tactical purposes or home defense purposes or perimeter work or whatever you need, these every one of these things are adding value to this tool that you have that could protect you. So adding a tactical flashlights could be added anywhere. It could be added to a handgun, it could be added to a rifle, it could be added to a shotgun. You could actually carry a tactical flashlight with you on a daily basis. You know, it's not a bad buy trying to find something that's going to work for you. It all depends on which ones you look for. I'm not real crazy about a flashlight directly on a pistol and using it as a flashlight because at that point in time, I put myself in a position where I'm pointing a gun at whatever I'm pointing it at with the flashlight on there, compared to pointing the flashlight maybe at something else and using the wash, the flashlight wash to find my way. Imagine if a cop's standing on the other side, I'm using my flashlight as my firearm as my flashlight. It just puts a point of you pointing a gun at something that you don't know what you're pointing at, especially if you heard a noise in the middle of the night. So that's why the FBI always recommends a hand flashlight. One flashlight's good, two flashlights are better. That hand flashlight's going to do a lot better for you than having that handgun flashlight. Yeah. We did a video a while back. We did some classes before, the cross hand flashlight. The FBI recommends having one in your hand versus having one in the flashlight itself and vice versa. So, keeping it away from you. Because keep in mind, if that flashlight's in your hand and you're standing in a position with that, and I'm the bad guy, all I'm doing is shooting at the flashlight. And most of those flashlights are center mass at that point in time. It makes it an easy target for the bad guy to find where the bad guy is. Compared to having it in your hand, maybe stretching your hand out a little bit. Your hand may get shot, but you're not center mass in your chest. A hand shot, although it's gonna hurt, you're probably not gonna expire from it. Uh, Take one to center mass, chances start to, go down very quickly. So, I always recommend keeping a flashlight in your hand versus keeping a flashlight on a weapon. But if you are keeping a flashlight on the weapon, make sure you don't use the weapon as the pointer. You can flush or wash the light against something like a door frame, and it'll still give you the ability to see the light wash a lot easier. All right. So this is one that's sort of one of those things where if you never shot an upgraded trigger in any kind of weapon, you wouldn't really understand the real difference. To kind of make this see what we're if you kind of get an idea that a standard AR trigger, which we call a mil spec trigger. They're made bulk, bunch, tons. They're not the best ever. They're just not crisp. They're not clean. They're just good. They're good. That's it. That's a good word to say. The trigger is good, but would you want the trigger to be the best you could? And that's kind of where we get to. So this is just a drop in a wing tactical hat. I'm not going to say this is the best one or this is this. Timony makes a bunch of triggers. There's a bunch of single stages, two stages. There's a ton of stuff that can be adjusted. This is a full kit. This kit has the two Allen rings. This actually has anti-walk pins. AR standard AR mil spec trigger is two pieces of trigger, two pieces, a top piece and a bottom piece that makes the trigger. The one you see here is a drop-in trigger. You take those two pieces out, pull the two pins, drop this trigger into the assembly, push your two pins in, and then the screw heads you see on both sides. You take the Allen wrench and you tighten from both sides, and those are considered anti-walk pins. What tends to happen when you start adjusting triggers, you're taking two triggers, two pieces out and putting one piece in, and the one piece in is a better quality trigger. Your actual trigger assembly pins can walk when you shoot them. In other words, they can walk out, especially in rapid fire, where those pin assemblies, the anti walk pins you see there, stop it from walking out. And I would add anti-walk pins to any rifle. They make better sense because in the long run, if one of those pins falls out during a fall or just a battle of any kind, and you lose a pin, which will cause the trigger to have a massive malfunction, and you would not be able to fire the rod. No trigger, no bang. No bang, no live. So the concept is those anti-walk pins are probably a good thing to buy, even if you decide not to change your pin out, not to change the pins out, not to change your trigger out. Getting anti-walk pins are $20. They're pretty cheap, but it's a great idea to switch out to a good trigger. Good trigger will help your groups, make your groups tighter and tighter and tighter, and you get a great weapon there. And then drop-in triggers, start about $80, go to about 300. Don't need again, I don't think you need a $300 drop-in trigger, but I don't think, you would hurt yourself by changing out the trigger. You really tell the difference, the 100%, no issue. It'd make a big difference on how your groups tighten up, especially in longer distance shooting. Alright. Upgrade triggers. Alright, so there are a lot of different, a lot of the ARs nowadays, what we call the Picatinny rail ARs, they come from the factory, not an A2 front post on there. They have a free float rail, and on free float rail, they have a gas tube underneath it, but they have no front sight, no back sight, and red dot only. Now, there's a lot of rifles out there that are called optic ready rifles, which means they're designed for a red dot only. Well, that's great and wonderful until you forget to turn the battery off on the red dot. So I'd highly recommend that any rifle you get, don't buy a rifle that doesn't allow for backup sights. Now the A2 front post that's on the rifle you saw the beginning of the video, that is a sight already, and it has the back sight laying down. These are Magpul BUSs. These are called backup sights. They are issued on a lot of different rifles. They are adjustable height up and down and right to left, and they are great for when the red dot goes to shit. Now, I told you earlier that there's an orifice, and I could kind of see those top pictures have that little tiny hole in there. And you can imagine at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, if you only had these on your gun, how easy would it be to put your cheek on there and see through those in low light conditions? Be very challenging for you. That's where the red dot would come in absolutely perfectly. Obviously, you could take the physical orifice there, and it has 2 there. They have a single one, and they have a bigger orifice that which is the secondary hole. That secondary hole will not allow us to be pretty accurate out at longer distances due to the fact that I have a bigger hole, which is gonna allow me not to take that front pin and get it real super crisp. So there are backup sites, not exactly what you want, especially when you have a red dot on there. The red dot is your formal site, and these are to co-witness through the red dot if the red dot battery went dead. And that's the cool thing about it. Have a sight on a weapon like a red dot and the battery goes dead and you have no other backup sights. The only thing you do at that point is run the rail and shoot the rail, which could be done, no issue, no real problem there. But it would be better off to have something you could flip up really quick and be able to, win the fight compared to not having backups at that point in time. A lot of people are buying these guns now that we made a decision years ago. We sell any rifle in our store. It comes with backup sights if you're able to get them, and it comes with a red dot. We have complete units here. That's what we do. I don't sell a rifle without having any kind of dots or anything else like that. I would highly recommend you never buy a gun without having some kind of sighting system on it because it's a glorified nothing at that point in time until you put, there's a lot of companies out there in the market nowadays. DD is one of them. I'm not going to say a bad word, but they sell a $1,300 rifle that has no sights on it. So that's like buying a car with tires and it. You got everything you need, but it's missing the rubber. There's no wheels. You got to add the wheels once you buy the vehicle. So, buying a gun, make sure it's going to run for you, make sure it's going to have all the backup stuff you need and work for you. All right, so here we go. There's the before and after. Here we have the top one has the Magpul stock. It has the Magpul front. It has the lower hand guard. It has the flashlight. It has the pressure switch, and it has the red dot, and it has the backup sights behind it, and it's got that larger charging handle from behind. Looks like a total different weapon. The bottom weapon was before, and the top weapon is after. Look how much different the weapon looks at that point in time. And look all the accessories we added to it in a very short period of time without really adding a lot of expense, be honest with you. Obviously, we didn't have any expense in it because thanks to our sponsor. But I looked up most of these parts and pieces. These kits can be done very, very easy without running a ton of money. And I didn't buy that red dot you're talking about that we saw earlier here. I had that red dot in the store there. So I think that's a $64 red dot that's on there and it kind of gives you one MOA or two MOA. I think it is very light, and it's set directly in. And if you look at that back sight's high enough that can co-witness directly through the red dot to your front post and work perfectly for you. This has a pressure switch on the opposite side, which allows me to uh, hold on to that front stock, push the dot, and gives me a green flashlight for when I need to be working defensively. I can take the stock out and in, and it gives me some longer distances, and I can really mag well hold this if I want to, or I can grab that front handle there and control it that way. Kind of neat. The this one here, the stock itself has a little spot in it that you can put a single sling on there, and it's the rifle itself does have the front sling still. Kind of cool and neat to see the before and after. It's kind of a people can't realize that that's even the same gun, but it definitely 100% is the same gun. Alright, in conclusion, I think, you can do a lot with this. I would like to thank Wing Tactical for supporting us this evening through all this stuff. I have negotiated a little deal with them. If you click this link itself, it takes you right to their website itself. And if you would like to purchase anything from Wing Tactile, which is a California based company, veteran owned, they put only the best products on the market that they have, and they only would put products on their website that they believe in. That's why we chose to work with them. And here is a discount code for you guys called John JOHN, all capitals 468 at checkout, and receive a 10% discount on any purchases. And this is good for one time, but it's good until 9/30/24. Because I know some people are not going to watch the live, they may watch it afterwards. And I wanted to give people the opportunity to shop this company because they are a veteran owned company, and they have been very generous to us to give us these parts and allow us to now be able to put this rifle out on one of our tables and be able to get a little bit more money from the company, a little bit more money from the customer, because we've customized this rifle in a very quick time. Nothing wrong with the first picture you saw of the rifle, but you can really see the difference in how the rifle looks now. So that's it for me tonight. Let's go back to the main screen and let's see if we can get down to some comments here and see what's out there as far as that goes. There I am. Hello, hello, hello. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what we have here this evening. Any comments out there? All right. All right, good. So that's great. We had a great night tonight. Any other things we'd like to talk about? Let me know if there's another topic you'd like to cover. We would love to cover those for you as well. Um, I'm glad to see that everyone's here. Natasha, yes, you do have adults on. That is correct, honey. I hope mom's doing well. I hope you guys are doing wonderful. Um, Everything else is fine. It is Tuesday night. You know what that means? It's taco night, and I am getting hungry as we see it here. Um, we are uh, we are getting to the end of this thing. We'll see you next week. I think we're at 59 minutes. I'm gonna get right to an hour. I like doing the full hour thing. Or 59:19. Any other comments out there? We'd love to talk to you. Natasha, how you been, honey? Everything going good for you? If you can comment for me. Uh, oh, if that's the end of the evening here, I'm gonna go ahead and get the final banner out for us and say goodnight. I want to tell you guys three things. God bless, be safe, and remember you are your first line of defense. Don't forget about your discount rate from this company here. I'm going to go ahead and roll a screen of that real quick as it's rolling down at the bottom. It'll give you the ability to get that code. You can watch this video as well and understand that you get that as well. Uh, and we will see you next week. And hopefully you have a great evening, rest of the evening. God bless. Be safe. And we'll see you the following week. Here comes the end screen. And oh, here comes the end screen.